HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This segment of the news is brought to you by BTC, powered by Lime.
Welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the weekend edition. Good Sunday evening, Bahamas. I'm Charisma Robinson. Thanks for joining us. Minister of Foreign Affairs and Immigration Fred Mitchell told reporters at a press conference today that the Bahamas' relationship with both Cuba and the United States has not been interrupted by the Cuban detainee saga. In fact, Minister Mitchell, who returned home today following meetings in Washington, New York, Atlanta, and Miami, said a delegation led by Permanent Secretary Philip Miller and Commodore of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force Roderick Bowe left for Cuba today to begin talks on a more efficient return of Cuban migrants to their home country. Minister Mitchell also will have direct discussions with Cuba's Foreign Affairs Minister this week in Grenada.
It's being dealt with now. This team that's going to Cuba is in 1998. The then government signed a protocol with the Cuban government which would have allowed the direct repatriation in a short space of time for Cuban migrants found in this country back to Cuba. There were some modalities that were supposed to be settled as to how that should be done. You know, who are the agencies, what are the executing forms, and all the rest of that. That was never done from 1998 to the present. We discovered that recently, and we indicated to them that that's what we'd like to do, is we'd like to get that set up. Because part of the issue here is that, that people simply are in these detention facilities for too long. And you know, of course, that we are doing work to improve and upgrade the facility so that you know, there aren't these allegations of the actual conditions themselves arising.
Now, when it comes to the investigation into the allegations of alleged abuse at the Carmichael Road Detention Center, Minister Mitchell confirmed that the matter will now be turned over to the Office of the Attorney General and Ministry of National Security, and the report, he says, will be made public at some point. Meantime, Minister Mitchell dismissed calls for his resignation by the Free National Movement in light of the allegations of abuse.
This is a group of very desperate people at the moment. They're down on their political fortunes. Their leader is in political trouble. And he's making himself look most unintelligent by seeking to link this call to these events to a call for resignation, because all he has to do is examine the facts and he can show that there's no nexus between what he is saying and my conduct. And I find it simply outrageous. This is, in my view, very much a local dispute confined to South Florida, which is designed to rattle the cages of Bahamians. Most Bahamians ignored it and supported the fact of the government's position on this. Until those processes work their way out, there's no reason for us to be unpatriotic and linking arms with people who are trying to do harm to our country overseas, and that's what it boils down to.
Turning now to news from the crime beat, 3 people have been killed in the past 48 hours. The most recent homicide unfolding in Nassau Village last night. Police were called to the Freeman subdivision area of Nassau Village before 8 o'clock last night when they learned that gunshots were heard there. At that scene, police found the bullet-riddled body of a man lying in the road. Assistant Police Commissioner responsible for crime, Anthony Ferguson, outlined their initial investigation into the matter to reporters on the scene.
3 males in a small white car. The person responsible for this latest homicide. We are appealing to members of the public who might have information to kindly provide the police with all necessary information that would assist with this investigations.
Assistant Commissioner Ferguson was unable to say whether Saturday night's homicide in Nassau Village was connected to any of the others that occurred this weekend. Over in Grand Bahama, police there investigating an armed robbery that reportedly happened around 6 o'clock Friday morning. Authorities report that while the victim was walking in the area of Lafayette Gardens, he was reportedly attacked from behind by a man who allegedly punched him several times in the face. Police say the culprit then fled with his black shoulder bag containing his laptop and cell phone. Grand Bahama police described the suspect of having a dark complexion, tall in height, medium build with twisted hair, dressed in black short sleeve shirt, blue long jeans, and red and black Nike tennis. Grand Bahama Police appealing to members of the public who may have any information on this suspect to contact the nearest police station. The government's $60 million national housing plan set to move into action this month. Minister of Housing and the Environment Kendra Dorsett said now that the bidding process is complete, the next phase is construction. This should be welcome news to hundreds of residents waiting to become homeowners. A memorandum of understanding was signed back in June between the Department of Housing and the National Insurance Board to construct more than 100 homes dispersed between New Providence, Grand Bahama, Abaco, and San Salvador.
Hill, Mackey Yard, a few lots in Pride. We have the Dignity extension, as well as we're going to be extending Sunset Close in New Providence as a part of the first tranche. We have Bahamia West replat in Grand Bahama, where we have a number of multi-family lots, and so we're going to be focusing on those areas because obviously we are able to turn keys faster simply because the infrastructure is already in place. And so that is the objective. People have been waiting long enough for this housing program to begin, and we want to make sure that once we complete the vertical construction that people are able to move in immediately.
Minister Dorsett said the project manager is Veritas Consultants and HLB Galanis won the bid to be the fund administrator. He explained the construction process.
The Attorney General's office is completing the review of contracts for them to be formally engaged, which means that we have now satisfied all the requirements for the drawdown from National Insurance. So we should begin the National Housing Program in short order now that that's been done.
The Bahamas Tonight will continue right after this.